The Patriots were busy, and we got a quarterback that's got plenty of buzz to break down today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase.
Joe, we knew we were going to do Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana Hoosiers, today. And we said, hey, maybe we'll get something topical. And the Patriots said, take your pick. We had a Marcus Jones extension. We had in the midst of, I set aside like 90 minutes last night in the evening to finish writing my top 50 big board that dropped for A to Z. Fernando Mendoza was on there. We'll talk about that in segment 3. And by the time I came back, they'd made 2 significant trades.
Yeah.
In the span of an hour.
Not trades I think anyone was actually expecting. So thank you, New England. Appreciate you giving us
Adam
plenty to
Schefter
talk
expected it. Adam Schefter on his podcast yesterday said he did not expect Kyle Duggar to be a New England Patriot by the end of the trade deadline.
Yeah, I guess that's the one that they've been trying to get rid of him for a while now, right?
Right.
That's been a thing. Shall we start with Marcus Jones, though? The extension they gave to him, 3 years, $36 million. He's 27 years old. You know, one of the most dynamic punt returners in the NFL. That's also a good slot corner. He's had some injuries throughout his career, but when he's on the field in terms of that slot play, I think he's a good player, right? Man-to-man coverage. He tackles. He's not the biggest, but he's explosive. And he's physical. He's feisty and competitive. And then he gives you that return element. Good player that they've identified as somebody they want to move forward with, which is interesting because they clearly told you about a couple of guys that they are done with here as, you know, Mike Vrabel, culture setter, trying to get this locker room the way that he wants it. And I can appreciate some of the deliberate intent behind some of these moves, but obviously Marcus Jones, part of the plans moving forward.
Joe Marino, big brand guy, Marcus Jones.
I know
you did his presentation as a draft prospect. You really liked him.
Thanks, man. I love rival teams getting players that I like and have to sit there and bite my tongue. But no, I'm not acting like it's not a good move. He's a good football player, and that return piece, dude, you know, it changes things. Yeah. He's a game-changing returner, not to mention a good slot corner as well. And the way he fits into that situation with those outside players and kind of the development of some players at safety and Hawkins and Woodson, you know, it's coming together there in New England. There's no doubt.
Yeah, so they got a pair of physical outside corners, and then they have the twitched up, smooth, smaller guy to play in the nickel and really mirror when you got more space to have to cover, right? And I think that's where it makes the most sense from a stylistic standpoint and keeping that core together as Vrabel continues to build. I did think it was funny. Albert Breer, after they did the contract extension, he posted yesterday at like 1 p.m. and said, when I think about Vrabel developing guys he inherited in Tennessee and now New England, I think of him being at Ohio State and part of the 12-0 Urban Meyer team. Here's what Meyer told his staff. And it's a quote saying, everybody wanted me to say Jim Tressel left the cupboard bare. I told my coaches, don't say that. Those are your players. So that contrast of, the Patriots signed Marcus Jones to an extension and Vrabel inherited him. And I think that's cool that he took that from Urban Meyer. To 6 hours later, they traded two guys.
Yeah,
they've been trying to get rid of and phasing out for months. Was funny to me, but that's never tweet, right? Like never post anything because the universe will say, "Here's your curveball." Yeah, never mind.
It's very humbling. No matter how many you get right, it's those moments where you're like, "Gosh, man," because the whole world just wants to get out there and get you, right? So
right, everybody wants a giggle, everyone wants to laugh. So Kyle Duggar, traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers on the heels of Deshaun Elliott appears to have a significant injury that's going to cost him significant amounts of time. And Duggar, the Patriots facilitated this. This should not be swept under the rug. The Patriots are paying the vast majority of the remainder of the contract, and the Steelers tore up the rest of the contract.
Yeah, there was nothing guaranteed beyond this year, right? It was $24 million beyond this year, but none of that's guaranteed. There was up to $6 million this year. So how does that work? Do you have the breakdown?
So all I had seen was Ian Rappaport clarified that the Patriots were paying, quote, the majority of the remaining balance of his contract. I would assume that probably means Pittsburgh's putting him on the roster for close to vet minimum.
Yeah.
And the Patriots simply paid, say, hey, we don't want the distraction. We don't want a veteran that's not happy here. You guys figure out what you want to do with him. And the Steelers said, you're going to be our Deshaun Elliott replacement. We'll do a pick swap out of it, and you can go to free agency after this season.
Literally the lowest form of a trade that you can do, a player and a 7 for a 6. I mean,
right.
They've wanted this guy out of there for a while now. And
yeah.
I guess they found their opportunity. They're literally paying for him to go away and getting very little in return. And it's interesting what now Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar are in Pittsburgh, and Peppers really hasn't been able to get on the field for them. He played against New England, and that's been about it in his however many games he's been there.
We came in all hot with the revenge game opportunity, and that's been it for Jabril Peppers.
It's been it. But, I mean, Duggar's been a challenging player, right? I mean, kind of came out, caught lightning in a bottle. Tools were always there. Had his moments with New England. They paid him a ton of money on an extension, a Belichick extension.
Right on the transition tag, right? He was on the 1 year 15 or whatever it was, and then they gave him the multi-year contract off of it.
Is it just that ankle injury? He's never been able to really come back off of it. I know Belichick is a guy that'll be really situational with his safeties, but if Mike Vrabel don't want anything to do with this guy, there's no question about it.
I think the biggest challenge is that's the kind of player that you need a plan for, right? Like you have to have a more tailored role than just a standard box safety or high post player or a nickel, right? Like he's a very specialized skill set. And the Patriots had 3 of this guy, right? They had Peppers, they had Duggar, and they had Marte Mapu, who the Patriots converted into a linebacker this spring in OTAs because you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
So I think that's the hard thing about transplanting into a different situation is, full on, like you're not just going to come up with a plan for a dude like this in October. So I think that really hurts the value. And for Pittsburgh, it's like, hey, at this point, we need a body that can do some of the things that Deshaun Elliott does. And we're going to have to try to balance it. In case in point, what Jabril Peppers' experience has been like.
All right, we will talk more about how Kyle Duggar can fit into this Steelers defense. And then, of course, Keon White now goes to the 49ers. We'll get into that trade. And then, of course, our big discussion on Fernando Mendoza also coming your way today. So, folks, be sure to stick with us. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings this same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel the craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from the smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. The NFL season is back, folks, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it is frustrating. But that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, it's easy, and it's backed by the Game Time guarantee. You're always going to get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. The app makes everything simple, and I love that I can see my exact view from my seat before I buy. It's just faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way that I purchase tickets. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
All right. You want to continue the Duggar?
Let's finish that up, right? You're really familiar with Deshaun Elliott and his good tackling safety, right? And not a lot of ball production. How do we make this work? Because we need to, right? We need some where the Steelers were old and slow on defense. I don't know that doesn't change with Kyle Duggar here. What can Pittsburgh do now that they got Duggar and the rest of the pieces there in that secondary?
It's not a back end player. Right? He's a second level player.
Ooh.
So that's okay. You want to go to sub and play potentially big nickel or put him down low in the hole or put him as a high split field safety and spin him down. I think that's where you get him at his best when he's kind of working down onto the second level from depth and allowing things to happen in front of his face. I think Elliott's probably a better half field player than Duggar is. So, I mean, there's restrictions on restrictions here as far as trying to fit into a defense that's just generally said, like, hey, we're going to rely on our guys to go out there and make plays, right? Like, they don't do a lot of exotic stuff. It's put your players in positions to make plays and trust your veterans and top players to make their plays.
I think the good news about replacing the Elliott role is, to your point, he didn't play a lot of deep, right? Most of his snaps came in the box.
Yeah.
And so you have Juan Thornhill as kind of that player that's been the deep safety. So you could see the logic behind giving him a shot. And maybe he catches lightning in a bottle. Obviously, he should feel like he has a lot to prove, right? And
I do like him better than Chuck Clark as an option for us, though, at this stage, though.
All right. Yeah, I think that's fair. Some upside here.
Yeah.
Speaking of upside, Keon White, obviously not in the plans for New England. He's been kind of a healthy scratch lately. And another one of these Belichick players. This is his last second-round pick, was Keon White.
That's the developing trend here.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty evident. But he goes to San Francisco, which it feels like a really good trade for San Francisco based on the injuries that they have at defensive end. So
didn't we say that on Monday? Did we not say on Monday, like, hey, they need to make a move here?
Yeah.
With some of these guys they lost on defense.
They did.
And they
Keon
did.
White.
They listen to podcasts.
It's been flashy, man. It's not like this is not a nothing addition here. Like, I thought coming out of his second season in 2024 that he was trending towards becoming at least a sufficient level starting player. And, he just fell out of favor. Didn't do much, obviously. He has a chance. I'm interested to see how they use him. They've always loved that. Who's that small guy from Penn State, Kevin Givens? Like the 49ers.
Yeah.
Like, is it going to be that type of role, like a Solomon Thomas role? Is he going to be truly on the edge? Like, what are you thinking here?
No. I got a name for you.
Okay.
John Franklin Myers.
Oh, yeah. That's what he should do.
Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
The Jets, John Franklin Myers.
Good call.
Play him just like that. And watch how magically we don't have a problem accommodating him and his skill set.
Right. I guess with Barmore and Milton Williams, I don't know. I guess why couldn't this work in New England? I don't know if they just don't like him from a personality standpoint. I don't know.
Potential. Yeah. I mean, it's you're picked by Belichick, your second round draft choice. He was one of those kind of developmental darlings of that draft class.
Super toolsy, right? Yeah.
And so I don't know what behind the scenes would fit into that, but I would think there would have been an opportunity. I think the challenge that it felt like from the New England, what I could read from the New England side of things was kind of felt like he wasn't dynamic enough to play on the edge. And you consider they brought in Harold Landry, right? That you consider from Tennessee.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't like the power elements to play inside. So I think they thought he was a little bit too much between a rock and a hard place. I watched Danico Autry be a hybrid player for Vrabel in Tennessee, right? And not have any problems.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no doubt. Yeah.
that would have been what I would have felt the role could have looked like. But if you're going to punt and he's going to go to play with Robert Saleh, yeah, I just think about John Franklin Myers and I say, okay, then just be that player. Ask him to do those things.
One of my memories of Keon White was at the Senior Bowl, and he was getting a lot of buzz, right? Some mocks had him in the first round, and we were at the, like, what is it, the media breakfast or whatever, where there's players around. And I remember Keon walks into the room, and he just walks into the corner, sits down on the ground, and starts reading a book. I've never seen it.
Oh, yes. He's like, yeah, you see Keon White in there reading a book?
I remember it was, who is that player? Yeah, it's Keon White. He's sitting over there reading a book. All right. Different kind of stuff, right? I mean, I thought that was something I'll never forget it. We've been in a lot of Senior Bowls. We've interacted with a lot of players in those moments, and I'm sure a lot of them don't love just, having to sit there and do interview after interview.
Be grilled, yeah.
Not
saying that's a good or a bad thing, right?
It's just observation.
An impressionable observation.
Yeah.
Anything else on Keon White?
No, I love this move for San Francisco. And whatever, if you're New England and he's not part of your plans, move on. That's fine. But for San Francisco, absolutely a reasonable take on here. It's a player in the third year of the rookie contract that's toolsy, that's had good moments in the NFL. You have a massive need. You gave up a bag of balls. Yeah, good move for the 49ers.
So that's the big thing with both of these players. Patriots could not get rid of him fast enough because they found the first offer they could for, as to your point, this was the same terms. It was White and a 7 for a 6.
Yeah. Just giving them away, man. Just giving them away.
So I guess we have a few minutes here before breaking segment 3 and getting into Fernando Mendoza. Do you think this bodes well for more or less trades? Do you think this is an indication of the trade market? Do you think this is just New England situationally as a team that's winning, moving off of a few players that they don't view in their plans?
My prevailing thought is that New England has been very intentional about their build and the players that they want to be part of it and don't want to be part of it. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Keon White or Kyle Duggar, but I think New England's identified those two guys as players that are not part of their vision long-term. And they've certainly had quite the glow up. They're 6-2. I think they have a very manageable schedule the rest of the way. They got a good chance to win the division and go on a playoff run. And I think for them, they're managing the short and long term, but ultimately I think Vrabel's into people, right? And he wants to have the right people in the boat with him moving forward. And I think he's identified a couple of players that he's fine without and giving them an opportunity to go somewhere where they're going to have roles. I think that's the other side of it. Like, I think you do good by the players. You're just going to, you can just be an inactive player here, or you can go to Pittsburgh where there's a clear opportunity to play. You go to San Francisco where there's a clear opportunity to play. So I think you're doing right by the players as well, which I think is to some degree very noble. All right.
Good break.
Fernando Mendoza. We're talking prospects here on October 29th. Folks, be sure to stick with us.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, Joe Marino, shall we do the thing?
We're going to do the thing. The first player of the year.
Presentation time. Indiana Hoosiers redshirt junior quarterback Fernando Mendoza He was born on October 1st, 2003. Make you feel a little old yet. So he's 22 years old.
Man, he's born in 2003 and he's 22.
Yeah.
Supposed to be like 10, right?
No, bad sign for you and me. I can tell you that.
Yep.
He was a 3-star recruit out of Miami, Florida, grandson of Cuban immigrants, played his high school football at Christopher Columbus High in Miami, committed to Yale initially, and then flipped his commitment to Cal Berkeley. Smart guy, right? As a 3-star recruit quarterback, he plays 2 years at Cal, was a redshirt in 2022, started 8 games as a redshirt freshman, went 3-5, and then started 11 games for Cal in 2024. So 2 years of starting, and then entered the transfer portal as a 4-star and became Kurt Cignetti's big fish in the transfer portal as a 4-star transfer quarterback, and is rocking it with Indiana. 70% completion percentage. He's got probably the best win of any of the quarterback prospects in the country with the road win in Oregon earlier this year. He's got a younger brother, Alberto, who is the backup quarterback at Indiana, and 6'5", 225 pounds. He's kind of got that prototypical build about him. That's the nuts and bolts. And now it's time to get into who he is on the field and what you like and what you don't, Joe.
If I had to add anything to the background, I thought some of his off-field stuff was pretty impressive. You mentioned, of course, he's Yale, Cal. He's obviously very smart, but involved in campus ministry, involved in turkey drives, founded an organization, a global organization called They Can Too, that's dedicated to helping and spreading the awareness of youth in need. Organized Cuban relief service trips to give back to the Native community, and also hosting youth football clinics for youth with disabilities. So a lot of cool stuff. You can feel like he's doing all the right.
Drive. What are you talking about?
Wow, boy, the dad joke was right there, and the dad couldn't not.
I had the whole time you're going through all these impressive things he does off the field. Yeah. I got this look on my face. I'm like, oh man, I hope he wraps it up so I can make this joke and move on.
No, that's the thing about this stage in life. I'm sure this way, where you feel like there's something that you want to say, and if you don't say it, it's gonna go.
You're gonna forget it.
You don't have it. I mean, it could be a matter of 10 seconds later. It's gone. Yeah, you got to hold on to it. All right, I watched Illinois, Iowa, Oregon, and Michigan State in preparation of our conversation today. My favorite things about Mendoza is I think he's a pretty accurate thrower of the football. I think really good placement. There's a lot of RPO tags in what they ask him to do at Indiana, and I think he throws a very catchable football that maximizes yards after catch opportunities. I think he's got the right weight on the ball. I think he makes good touch passes, and he's accurate. I think that's a good thing to be.
Yeah.
I like the pocket movement as well. I don't think you're going to confuse him to being like a super dynamic, twitchy athlete, but I think his ability to navigate the pocket and keep his eyes down the field and make those subtle movements to find platforms and throw the football, I really enjoyed that. And I think there's a level of toughness here that I also really like. He'll stare down the barrel, man, and he'll rip it.
Take some shots.
He will. I think he's got the right balance of kind of when to be aggressive and try to dial one up down the field versus, when to just kind of keep the offense on schedule. I think he executes that offense really, really well, but there's a toughness about him that I like. I mean, whether it is staring down the barrel, taking a hit, some times where it was a low snap or, things got out of hand and he was willing to kind of take the football and lower his shoulder and try to get some yards. I like the toughness. So accurate pocket movement, toughness, master of the offense. He's obviously been highly productive, and big reason why we're talking about him today. He's had quite the glow up.
Yeah, I watched the last 5 games. UCLA, Michigan State, at Oregon, at Iowa. Not a fun place to play either. To talk about the win in Oregon, but that Iowa, that's a tough place to play. I've been there. And then Illinois, or the 5 games that I watched. Production through the roof. I really like how he kind of carries himself with his teammates. You could see how engaged he is. Always like seeing how guys respond. Like somebody scores a touchdown, right? Like, what's your reaction? Do you go celebrate with the guys? Whatnot? He's He cannot wait to find the first person of the same color jersey and give him a high five or dap him up or tap him on the helmet or pat him on the butt. And then he gets fired up and goes celebrates with his guys. So he does have a little bit of that Kirk Cousins, aw shucks, personality about him, but he's somebody who you can see the relationship that he's built with his teammates. And when you're in the portal era, I think that's all that much more impressive when you can have kind of see that connection with your teammates. It's his first year here, right? He's the leader of the team. He's a starting quarterback, and he's developed and invested in these relationships. And I think it's apparent when you see how he celebrates with his team after scores. The accuracy for me was the number one thing. Really, the Oregon game, some of the throws in the Oregon game where they're anticipatory throws that are right on the face of guys, or they're timing throws where back shoulder and you put it on the outside leverage when a guy's got somebody playing in phase in his inside pocket and allows his receiver, and it's a far throw because it's the far hash.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that from a placement perspective was what kind of really got me to buy in. And then that toughness element that you talked about, it's how he absorbs blows in the pocket. That I think that's the first time you really get an appreciation for the size element of him, because he is kind of built lanky, right? Yeah. Like he's not a real stocky build,
right?
But you see how he absorbs hits and how he absorbs contact and how he takes shots in the pocket, and he's willing to make throws through that. That gives you an appreciation for it. Yeah, he's a big, strong kid in the pocket.
Yeah,
right. So those things all stand out to me when I watch him. You mentioned the RPO tags. I think that's probably something that you'll have to make some scheme considerations to put him in the best position early, because I think there are some times where working through to the backside of progressions and feeling the safety spin and working off of the front side of wherever you want to start. They do some RPOs where he eats the ball. And it's like the number one thing you can't do with RPOs, right? Is if you're not going to hand the ball off, you can't not throw the football.
There was one maybe it was against Iowa where it's like, I can't believe they didn't call legal man down the field. There was like the whole offensive line was multiple yards on the field, and he's rolling out to the right and he winds up throwing away. I was like, really? They didn't call that?
I think they had one of those against UCLA where he actually scored a touchdown on the play where they ran double ins. So he comes out of the ball fake and he sets up to throw, and he doesn't throw either one. And it's like, oh boy, you probably should have just thrown it at the feet of the second in and live to fight another down. He pulls it down, he gets outside the end, and he runs for like a 30-yard touchdown on the play. It's like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But like little things like that, you'll have to learn through exposures and experience. And I don't want to live and die doing that on a down-by-down basis, whether it's the first time you get called for a legal man downfield when you try to throw it late, or if you're not throwing it on RPOs at the NFL level, you're going to get popped.
I would say that generally, though, I think he does run the offense, which
yes,
we've seen a lot of these guys that come in and are really dynamic and can do a lot of things on the field, but just like running the offense with consistency, was kind of a struggle. But I didn't see that with Mendoza. I thought he was a guy that, he has those moments, but he ran the offense, which I can appreciate.
He's generally very well tuned with the execution of what we're trying to do on every offensive play. I think that sets a high floor.
Yeah. And which, as I think you get into some of the other side of the conversation where there's deficiencies, he's just got average physical tools, right? He doesn't have a hose. He's got sufficient arm strength, but I don't think he's going to dial up heaters, right? That's, going to really leave people with their jaw on the floor thinking this guy's got a fastball.
Right.
Which I think some of those moments when he's not executing in rhythm and he's got to find, the ability to challenge a tight window or tight coverage, you can kind of see some of the modest arm strength, and, he can move well, but, he's not, I wouldn't label him a dynamic dual threat quarterback that's really a threat with his legs. Right. So
he's probably, what do you think, a 4.8 guy?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought his physical tools were pretty comparable to like a Jared Goff, like that type of physical upside to me.
I think he's on that spectrum of Goff and Kirk Cousins are the guys who Well, Kirk doesn't have a bit. Kirk threw a good deep ball, and Mendoza throws a very pretty deep ball.
Yeah, like he spins it nice. Like,
yes,
I don't know if I just been watching a lot of NFL films, so I haven't seen the white stripes on the ball. It's like, man, I'm seeing a lot of rotation here. This is nice to see.
You get that positive reinforcement, right? So Goff, I think Goff from the build perspective is more comparable. He was 6'4", 215 coming out, and he ran a 4.8, right? Yeah. So I think that's kind of the right
physical profile.
The right physical profile where, Kirk was 6'3", 214, ran a 4.9. So you're in that general ballpark. Mendoza's bigger and taller than both of them, or at least off the listed measurables. So slightly scaled up a version of that kind of pocket passer who is going to have to win in the same ways. And you understand that comes with certain things that you need to be able to put around him from a team building perspective. But I see a starting NFL quarterback, and I see a potential top 12 starting quarterback if you put him in the right situation.
I think you sort of answered the question I've been really excited to ask you, but I want to put it like this and see how you answer it. And I know we're up against the time here, but the question that I wanted to ask you is, what are you signing up for, and how can you be successful with Mendoza as your starting quarterback? I think that's a really important lens for us to consider with these prospect discussions.
Yeah, I think you're signing up for, we mentioned high floor earlier, right? I think what a player like this allows you to do with processing in real time, I think I'd be willing to bank on his ability to process information in real time based off just kind of the intellect of who he is individually. So whether that's side adjusts or route landmark adjustments based off coverage and confirming that post snap. Now, you got to get smart football players to play around him. I know that it's very easy to get up to the line of scrimmage, and I see what the nickel alignment is, and I'm feeling what safety spinning down, so I know what that means this route should adjust to. But if the guy who's running the route doesn't see it the same way, then you're going to have disconnect, right? Yeah. But I think those are the kinds of things that you can do with Mendoza that would allow you to solve problems in your offensive infrastructure that other players might just bank on. Well, I'll get outside the pocket and I'll let the play break down and we'll do scramble drill, right? Because that's not what you're signing yourself up for. So if you don't have a player that really leans on that side of things, I think you have to be prepared to have a nuance to your offense. And what's the depth? How many steps is the route? And how does it change if we get this coverage on this play or not? And I think Mendoza's capable of handling a lot of that kind of stuff.
I'm interested to kind of see where he goes. Like, this is a player that I could see a team saying, yeah, we can bring him in and he could be our guy. I don't think he's a slam dunk like you would think top 5 pick in any draft, but he fits the profile of, I think he's got a chance to be a good NFL starting quarterback. And usually when that's the profile, they get picked pretty early. So I can see that happening.
So he is a redshirt junior. He does have an extra year of eligibility, but his younger brother's sitting behind him. Yeah. He's got a decent workload and volume, probably a pretty safe bet that Mendoza is going to end up being in this draft class, especially with how well he's playing this year. And somebody's got to want to come out and be QB1, right? Now, the other contenders for this, Ty Simpson at Alabama, 311 career pass attempts for Ty Simpson at this stage.
Wow, that's
of the
so
game.
few. Yeah.
And Dante Moore from Oregon, I want to make sure I get the exact number right. I know we're up against the clock. 424. So that's what Mendoza's got in his back pocket. We're out of here. Appreciate you tuning in. Come back. See you again tomorrow.